Shout out to all the positive vibrators tuned in around the world, all the usual suspects. Y'all know who you are. In this episode, we have my good friend Nate, aka Cheeks, repping St. Louis. He's a father, husband, professional photographer, project manager, marketing consultant, surfer, snowboarder, and lover of music, and an all-around positive guy. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Let's get it.
The burnt egg roll?
Yeah. Oh, hell no. You brought out the bone thugs. Nice. That's what I'm talking about.
What's good, Nate? I had to, man.
That's dope.
I had to bust out the Bone Thugs for you because that's what I was thinking throughout the day. I was like, what is something that me and Nate have in common, you know? And I remember we used to like Bone Thugs and Busy Bone.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You're pretty much the only person that knew every word for word, every single fucking album. It's funny, dude, like, I know we had the interview scheduled and everything, and I'm like getting all thinking about today, and I go back and I was like, man, the first hip-hop album fucking Brandon introduced me to was fucking Flavor in Your Ear by Craig Mack. I've listened to that fucking album all day today. Probably 3 times through, no doubt about it. And I was like, damn, that's just how long ago we go back. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like that shit, man. And you know what's funny about Craig Mack is that Adam Moore, actually, he got me that CD for my birthday. Craig Mack, man. R.I.P. Craig Mack.
I know, right? Damn.
Yeah, man. Crazy, though, man. How you been, though?
I've been good, brother. Been good, man. Moved back up to St. Louis now. Been up here for about 2.5 years, almost 3 years now.
Oh, okay.
Down in Florida for quite a while. But, no, it's good, man. It's real good.
Did you ever hang out with Troy Limbeck down in Florida?
Honestly, not a lot. There was 1 or 2 times that we hung out down there. You know, when I was down there, I was in music school. He was in basketball fucking with UCF and shit. So I was doing shit that he didn't need to be around at that time. You know what I mean? So we didn't hang out much. But no, there was a couple times we went to a bar downtown together with him and a couple of his college buddies. So it was a good time. But yeah, I probably hung out with Troy more after college than anything else. Just not a lot, but just here and there, just through mutual friends and everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I bring him up because I was just, sometimes I look through his stuff like on Instagram and I'm like, man, he would be an interesting person to talk to, you know, on the podcast because of his basketball.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm sure he'd love to do it too. He
probably has some good stories, right?
Oh yeah, well man, he was the king around here, remember? Growing up, like in high school, like fucking Troy Limbeck, he was the king of basketball. And then, you know, went to D1 school at UCF. You know, he wasn't, you know, the king down there, but still, man, fuck, he played D1 basketball. He was a great basketball player. Played at UCF even, you know, and great career. So yeah, he probably definitely has some stories because all those college basketball players got stories.
I remember having one of my best games against him back in 7th grade when we were playing at their place.
I remember we beat him. That's all I remember.
Yep, our 8th grade year we beat them, but I think prior to that, I think they had gotten us all 3 times, right? We were 0-3 against them. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure.
I can't remember because me and Blake played up with 7th grade year, so we only played half 7th grade. But yeah, I think they got us in 7th grade. But yeah, 8th grade, we got them. I remember that. We got them at their house too.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was at our crib.
I remember we got them at Peter and Paul. I could be wrong though, man. I don't remember.
Oh shit, the good old days, man. It's good to see you though, man. It's been a while.
Oh man, it's great seeing you, brother. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing right now, and it's fun. Like I haven't seen you like physically in person probably 15 years at least.
Yeah,
if not more.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. It'll be good to like kind of take a trip down memory lane and then kind of fill in the time gaps, you know, from back in the day. But I remember one year, man. I think it was at Holy Cross 5th grade, going into 6th grade, and there was a period where I didn't see you for summer vacation, and you came back, and you were a totally different person at that time. You were
skater.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I disavowed hip hop. It was all about Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Green Day. I remember that.
Yeah. That was a interesting time though.
It's crazy, man. It's like growing up, you know, I'd say like you said, 5th grade through high school, even college, you know, you go through so many stages, and especially myself, I went through so many stages. It's very rare that somebody like starts with something and sticks with something. And that's one thing that you've always been true to who you are, and you've always been real since fucking day one. From 5th grade when I first met you around that time. You know what I mean? It's like you're the same Brandon. It's like most of us kind of went this way, then went that way, then went that way, then came back to this way. And it's just crazy the way our taste in music, life, cultures, whatever it might be, changes throughout the time.
I've had like different stages in my life too, where I thought I wanted to do like other things. And I was just doing it. A lot of times I was just doing it because I think listening to other people's voices, right? You try to listen to your parents, but then try to listen to your own voice. But I think for me, I really didn't get out of that mindset until probably in my like maybe like, no, I would say, yeah, probably closer to my late 20s. And then for sure, definitively, probably when I was like in my early 30s, yeah, probably like 30, 31. But that's because I made a like conscious effort to say, you know what, I can either continue to go down like a road that other people want for me to make them happy, or I can just say fuck it and then just do what I think is right in my mind. But yeah. I don't know if you've ever like gotten to a point in your life where you were like, all right, I've had enough at this stage and I want to go into like and commit to like a different stage.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. I'm 37 years old, be 38 next year. It's one of those things, like, as I grow older, I've been more around the fact of, I don't know what I want to do tomorrow, next day. I know what I want to do today, so that's what I'm going to strive for is today versus planning ahead. Now, I lucked out through and through. Like, my wife, she supports me in everything that I do. And she realizes me being happy is really what's going to make her and our son happy. And I can't ask anybody is more supportive than her. And like I said, I lucked out with that because I don't think most people have that, that kind of support system behind them. But yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's like, I know I have goals that I strive for, through and through. I love my job and what I do now. I have hobbies that I love doing that, definitely going to turn into a career. But what I want to do next year could be completely different than what I want to do 5 years down the road, and strive for today. That's really the main thing.
Yeah. And I think one thing that you mentioned was having somebody that supports what you're about. You know what I'm saying? And that's very important. And I know your wife, Christine, because we used to run cross country back in high school.
Yep. she's still a runner, FYI.
Right on. That's what's up. Yeah. Shout out to her, man. And she was always with her friend Jamie Milne. You remember her?
Yep. Jamie's still around. We actually play soccer with her husband. We played soccer pre-COVID era, indoor soccer with her and her husband on a co-ed league. Oh, okay. So yeah, they're still in contact and everything too.
Right on. I used to hit on her all the time back in high school cross country.
I think who, my wife or Jamie?
Maybe a little bit of both, but that's in the past, man. Yeah. As far as we know, that didn't happen.
No, we're good there. Statute of limitations or something like that, right?
Yeah. I gotta go back and watch this that'll be a fun part when I go back and edit that. I'll be like, should I keep that part in?
All good.
Yeah. But anyways, sorry, man. We just went down a different road right there. But I was gonna say, going back to like, I guess Holy Cross State. Well, I guess even before that, I know you lived in Maryville, but is that where you always grew up, in that house right there, or you moved around?
Yeah, pretty much. I lived in Troy probably till maybe like 4th or 5th grade. Then we moved to that house in Deer Creek. Mm-hmm. My mom's still at the same place. I bought me and Christine's house is in Stonebridge, so it's the subdivision over, if you remember where that's at, by the old golf course. Mm-hmm. So like we're still right next to home. But yeah, besides that, then after high school, moved down to Florida, went to school down there for music and business. And when I was working in music, probably lived in Atlanta for a little bit, lived in St. Louis, obviously. Was out in LA for a little bit.
Sorry to cut you off. That's one thing that I wanted to ask you about, because correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you go to that Full Sail Academy?
Yeah, Full Sail University. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I remember every time I would read like the Source magazine or Vibe magazine, like they would always have those advertisements in that magazine, and that's what I wanted to do. And of course, my parents, they wouldn't support that dream, so you have to do what you can. But I was gonna ask you, like, what was that school actually like, and what are like some of your biggest like takeaways from that school, I guess, or that time in your life?
Tell you what, when I went there, I did not have the right mind space because it's not the traditional school, going to class a couple, 3, 4 times a week, an hour, 2 hours a day. It's an immersive type of university where honestly, man, 24/7, it's a 24 hours, 7 days a week school. So the first couple of months hit me hard because I kind of wanted the college experience, but I also still wanted to learn, engineering and music engineering and how that works. So, first couple of months, I thought I was going to come back to council pretty quickly, but I had some good buddies down there that just kind of convinced me, like, just buckle up, man. It's only a year for your associates, and it came around. The school's great. It's a cool concept, man, because it's like hands-on learning, but you still have kind of the classroom setting. So ultimately, I was in class at least 40 hours to 50 hours a week. 4 hours in the classroom a day, then 4 hours in the music studio, working on stuff like that, learning that process.
What kind of stuff were they teaching you at that school, or what were your classes about?
Well, the thing was strictly audio engineering. So ultimately, really just learning basic sound foundation. So really being the person behind the board, fine tuning the music. The way one of our instructors always put it, the producer makes the artist look good, the engineer makes them both sound good. So that's kind of the way we always took it. So, just really working with the producers and the artists, really to fine tune the tracks and everything like that.
Did you ever, like, after you graduate, like, kind of go into that type of, or use that kind of work to, like, work with any people?
Yeah, nothing, no major artist. Right out of school, I went up to Atlanta, worked in some studios up there, just doing a lot of internships. So I busted my ass for like 6 months, and I got on with a studio up there called SAC, and worked there for about 3.5 years. Did just mostly engineering work. So any of the artists that were coming through there, really just kind of work with the producers and the artists, managing the sessions, everything like that. So did it for like 3 or 4 years. Mostly in Atlanta, was in St. Louis for a little bit of time, working some sessions out there or here. Then I went out to LA for a little bit of time too as well. So it was cool. It's just one of those things. It got old quick. I love music. I don't love working in music. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I've tried in my life that, I love doing, but then once you start like working in it, the actual industry, you're like, fuck, man, this shit ain't what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, it ain't all bells and whistles.
Yeah, cheers, man. Good seeing you.
Cheers to you, brother. It's been too long.
I was gonna ask you, like, how was your time in LA, and where did you stay out in LA? Like, what part?
Well, I was lucky enough. I got to stay out in Malibu. I was out there for 3 months, but it was a bunch of engineers and producers staying in one house out there, and we didn't work much. It was pretty much just a party the whole time. I lost probably about a good $30,000 in that matter of 3 months out there. So, but probably some of the best times of my life, man. Just partying with people I shouldn't be partying with, celebrities, things like that. Just it was some dope ass times.
Name drop some motherfuckers, man. Who did you party with?
Oh man, there's a few. I'd say I'll go with the coolest motherfucker that I probably got to hang out with was surprisingly enough Fred Durst.
Oh shit, no shit, man. Yeah, I'm
Fucking never liked Limp Bizkit, nothing like that, but I got to meet him, and he was just a cool, down to earth dude, nothing like you think he'd be, and kicked with him pretty much for the whole night. Him and a bunch of girls that he brought, and then a bunch of my buddies.
not too many people can say they partied with Fred Durst, right?
I'm sure he's partied with a lot of people. That motherfucker was popping back in the early 2000s.
What are some things that you remember that you could say, like, on record?
Basically, pretty much everything. Like, it wasn't like a big deal. It was just he was a cool, down to earth dude. So, my buddy Corey, he was doing engineer work at one of the studios that Fred was recording at. Everybody was just kind of hanging out in the main lobby, everything like that. Fred's like, hey, we're going back to this house to party for tonight. Everybody's invited. Corey came back to the house we're staying at. The house that their party was at happened to be like 4 blocks over. So a mob of like 6 of us just went over there. And we were there for probably like an hour, hour and a half, and probably like 50, 60 people. You know, it was a pretty decent sized party, but, you know, those houses out there, fucking huge. So it didn't seem like a lot. Then really just fucking chilling. And about an hour into it, you know, my buddy Fred saw Corey. He's like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for coming out and everything. And he just kind of sat there, smoked out, drank pretty much for a couple of hours, just hanging out, just being normal people, which is really weird, you know. You know, I didn't really get starstruck or anything like that because never really been a fan of his music. You know, I respect what he's did, just don't like that type of shit. But it's just, he was a cool dude, just a normal individual. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool, man. I think there's always that perception, right, when we see certain people like on TV and then we see them in real life, right? There's always those moments where we're like, all right, I hope they're cool, right? Or I hope they're nice. But usually, you know that saying, real recognize real?
Yep.
So usually I feel like at least from my experience, most of the time, because I live out here in LA County too, and like I run into like some celebs here and there, especially when I was going out more. But you know, I feel like as long as you're like real with them, you know, they're usually real back, right?
Yeah. Don't be starstruck. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, that's the last thing they hate. They want to see.
You know who, that reminds me. You know who I saw at a Laker game one time?
Who's that?
The dude, Marcus Houston from Immature.
Oh hell no, that was my shit. You know I'm the R&B king. Oh man, I used to listen to that shit all the time back in the day.
Yeah, man, he had that dope track with Busy Bone, right? That Give Up the Ghost. I remember me and you, we used to rock out to that all the time.
That's funny you mentioned that. Like, it's probably been like 6 months, just randomly on Spotify. I was just going through like a 90s hip hop phase again, just kind of listening to the shit I used to listen to. And that album came up on there and listened to that for a good day or two, just like catching up. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, I listen to R&B pretty solid still to this day.
Yeah. Are you listening to any new music these days?
Man, I got such an eclectic taste in music. Honestly, the only thing I don't listen to is anything metal, heavy metal related. One artist that's been on repeat for me lately, new artist, up and comer, I'm guessing, because doesn't have any plays, but his name's Nick D, N-I-C, just the letter D. But hip hop artist, funny enough.
Sorry to cut you off, like our boy Nick Ditzler, right? Nicky D.
Exactly. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw his name. I'm like, Nick D. Oh shit, Nick Ditzler. But no, man, it's funny enough. Like, I got into one of those wormholes on TikTok, just scrolling through one day, watching video after video, and this dude came up and listened to a song. And I'm like, man, this dude's pretty dope. And he's probably been on my Spotify playlist now for the last like 3 or 4 weeks on pretty much repeat. You gotta pretty check him out.
You said Nick D, and you said he's a R&B singer?
Like hip hop, he's hip hop R&B. He raps, he sings, kind of like Drake, but not like, I don't know. It's more like folk hip hop, I guess you could call it. If that makes sense.
Is he a Caucasian dude or African?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. He got this long old bushy hair. But he's dope though, man. It's like, I don't care what you look like, as long as you got some good music coming out, bring it, you know?
Yeah, I feel you. Now that you have a son, like, do you get down to like some of his music that he's into, or you're like, nah, I don't mess with that?
No, I don't fuck with that shit. Yeah, it's bad. No, he really doesn't listen to too much music, but it's like he'll get on like song kicks, and it's usually like songs from like the video games. And they're horrible. You probably heard them, you know. No, he listens to some stuff that I listen to. He likes some of the stuff I listen to, more of the like alternative, like surf rock music, like Slightly Stupid, Pepper, bands like that. He likes that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. Is it kind of weird like having kids, man? Because I don't, I don't have any kids, man. But I think about it some days, like what it would be like. But for you, for someone that has a kid, like, is it like what you thought it would be, or how do you feel about it?
It's the coolest thing I've ever did, and it's also the weirdest thing I've ever did in my life. And like, let me kind of explain that. It's like I have a fucking kid. Like that's me. Like that's part of me and Christine. You know, we created this human being, and like there's nothing cooler in life than that. You know what I mean? But it's weird because I still feel like a kid at times. You know, like I don't feel like I'm 38 years old. Like I still feel like I'm in my 20s as far as like the way I act and stupid shit I still do. From time to time. So like that's the whole fact why it's weird. But no, man, he's a cool kid. Like they always say you want your kid to grow up to be just like you. No, I want my kid to grow up to be better than me, and he's off to a good start because he's the complete opposite of like me and Christine. Like me and Christine always into sports, everything like that, all growing up through high school. He has no interest in sports. The kid's smart as a whistle though. So he's just the opposite when it comes to me on that. I got by. I was a B student, but smart kid. And it's crazy. It's just people grow up like, oh, my kid to play this sport and that sport. And like, yeah, we put him in the sports to play it. He didn't like it. And I was like, I'm fine with him not playing it. Let him do what he wants to do. And that's going to grow him into the person that he's going to be. But we're off to a good start because he's a good kid.
Right on. Do you ever look back at like when you were younger and then thinking about your age when your kid was at the same age and like how you were thinking versus how he was thinking?
Yeah, I wonder what he's thinking sometimes. You know what I mean? Like that's the crazy part. Like he's getting to that age now, man. He's 12. He'll be 13 next year. Like that's fucking nuts to me, And I look back at me when I was like 13, 14. Like that's when I started, getting into like not bad shit. Like I was just being a teenager, like testing the waters, seeing how much I can get away with, So he's gonna go through it too. All kids go through it, and it's hopefully I just made me and Christine just raised him well enough to make the right decisions, and that's really what it's about. I'm not gonna be mad if he makes a wrong decision because that's how my mom and my dad raised me. You're gonna fuck up at times. You're gonna get our forgiveness. We'll remember, but we get forgiveness at the time. You know what I mean? And
yeah, he's about to hit puberty, man. So he's about to go through them hormone changes, right? And
he's already there, brother. He's shot up probably like 6 inches in the last year. The voice is starting to cackle and crack now, and he's almost as tall. He's like up to my chin. I'm 5'10", so he's almost as tall as me already. So he's gonna be tall.
Gotcha. You only have one kid?
Yeah, just the one and done.
You don't want no more?
No, honestly, we don't. Like, we got really lucky with Ryder. Like, you always hear people like having babies. Oh man, it was the worst. As far as the kid was always up at night. The first couple months, yeah, when he was an infant, breastfeeding every like 2-3 hours, yeah. But after that, like, he was a fucking perfect kid. Like, never cried that much. Always slept through the night. So didn't want to jinx it,
Right on. So, what school is he going to right now?
He goes. It's called Doris Intermediate School right now, and that's the old North Junior High. So that's 5th and 6th grade. Because they switched the whole school system up here. I don't know. I guess when I was gone. So now it's kindergarten through 4th grade goes to like the elementary schools. Then 5th and 6th go to Doris Intermediate, which is the old North Junior High. 7th and 8th go to the North Junior High, which is down by the old Grandpa's. Then high school.
I can't even remember where the old Grandpa's was, man. I remember there being one, but
the old bingo hall down by the baseball fields.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think now I remember. It's crazy.
When was the last time you've been back to the area?
Man, it's been a while, man. I think probably like damn, if I had to guess, maybe like 2016 or 15.
Damn, it's been that long?
Yeah, the reason I went back was for Brandon Snyder's engagement party, and also it was his dad's, like, I think maybe 60th birthday, maybe. So it was kind of
Nice.
yeah, it kind of gave me an excuse to come back. But Collinsville, yeah, it changes a lot, you know. I think over time, like in short periods, like in 5 years, 10 years, if you don't like come back, when you do go back, like it's different, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah,
businesses change and things, new businesses come and go, and even like with the schools and stuff that you're talking about. But yeah, that's pretty crazy, man. So you live in Collinsville now?
live in Maryville. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Collinsville, close
yeah, yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, you mentioned that earlier. My fault.
No, you're good, brother. No, but it's like you said, man. Like I couldn't have moved back 10 years ago because it was a completely different time now. And the people I hung out with in high school, you know, I still see some of them from time to time, and I'm still great friends with a lot of them. But like, we moved back because like this is home. You know, it's always going to be home no matter where I was at. And Christine's really close to her family, so you know, they live like 2 blocks over. Her grandparents do. So it's good to be back. You know, it sucks leaving Florida because it was warm and it's cold up here. Shit, it's like 30 something degrees right now, freezing my ass off. But it's home, so it's like it's different, definitely different than what it was when we were growing up, like in our 20s and everything like that. You know.
Do you still go to Holy Cross, or you go to a different church, or what's
Honestly, man, full disclosure, I haven't been into church in a long time. I've been on the holidays with mom and grandma to appease them. They go to a Baptist church over there by the old Sonic, or not old Sonic, it's still there. But it's strange. I'd say over the last like 10 years, man, I'd call myself more of an agnostic than anything else. Like something's out there, you know, something created all of us, but who the fuck knows what it is, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I haven't been to church in quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, real talk, like, I don't blame you though, man, because like after getting old and going through life, and you know, I went back and like did a lot of reading about history and stuff, and I feel like there's so much more than just like one religion.
You know, honestly, it's just one of those things. Like when I got into college, especially, you know, growing up around here, it's very church going. You know, it's very, let's call it red here. Um, Moved to Florida when I was 18, and very blue and very more outgoing, I guess you say, as far as the culture and just learning different opinions. And one of my buddies in college, you know, he was huge into like space, astronomy, things like that. And I can't remember the name of the book he gave me, but I just read it. And it just really talked about like how planets are created, and science can prove a lot of shit. You know, it's religions, you can prove it through faith. You know, it's one of those, believe it, it's there, but you can't 100% physically prove it. And it's just one of those things, you know, I don't knock it or anything like that. All respect, you know, Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, whatever your religion might be. I don't look down on people for, you know, having those beliefs. It's just, you know, it's one of those things. It's like there's too many things out there that are unanswered, and the space and galaxies are just way too big for one religion. Just boop, it's all ours, you know.
That's the shit that Joe Rogan always talks about, man. I listen to his stuff, and like the shit that he says is like, we can talk about all the bullshit that goes on like on the day to day and like in politics and shit, but like he's like, what I think is more crazy is that we're in some fucking globe hanging in outer space right now, moving so fast, but we don't even realize it.
Exactly, right? And we're this big in our galaxy. Like, and there's other galaxies out there. Like, it doesn't stop, man. It's like, come on. I don't know. I could get into a rabbit hole of this conversation for days and days. You got to like 4 a.m. right now. I'll talk about it all night. But no, it's just one of those things that kind of like just changed my direction just on life in general. It's just really having an open mind, not looking at it one way, because especially growing up and going to Holy Cross and going to Metro for a couple of years, it's, you know, Jesus, 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 Jesus. You know, they just install it in you. And like I said, nothing wrong with it, man. You know, it gave me some great values. I learned a lot from the time I was at Holy Cross and Metro, especially too, as well. Like just being a good person. But you know, that's on most religions. Just don't be a dick. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
When I started going to Holy Cross, I was in the 5th grade. So prior to that, I was going to Door School. So like I had no idea what God was. And by the time I was like 9 or 10, I was like, man, I already know. Like I thought I had a good idea of what my reality was. But then going to Holy Cross, they're like, yo, you got to believe this shit about no disrespect to Jesus, right? Because I feel like he's an ultimate positive guy, you know. Like
for sure. For sure.
The stuff that he preaches, man, like if you listen to what he says, like you can't go wrong in life. But that's the thing that what you said reminded me of my question that I wanted to ask you earlier was, if anything that I got out of religion, it was like how to like know the difference between good and evil, right? That's like basically what it is religion teaches people morals, right?
And that's literally what it boils down to. Like I said earlier, you know, no matter what your religion is, they're going to have different, you know, meanings behind it, but it all boils down to the same thing. You know, it's morals, like you said, and how to love. And that's really what it boils down to. And like I said, I'm glad I went to Holy Cross. I loved my time there. Glad I went to Metro. And, you know, that's probably partly the reason why I have my beliefs that I do now today, because I questioned it. You know, I know Aaron was talking about it too with, I forget whatever teacher he's saying, just thank you or something like that. He asked some questions. She looked at him like he's a dumbass or something like that. It was like that made me feel good when I heard that part, because I was like, man, I question that all the time. I didn't want to say it because I thought I'd get like a pink slip or something, get sent home, you know, get kicked out of school for asking about Jesus.
Yeah, man. But, they used to tell me I couldn't wear my Spreewell jersey to school, and I had to tuck my Death Row chain in.
I remember that. Your Death Row chain led me to get my No Limit chain. Yeah, we were pretty badass, weren't we?
at least in our mind, right?
Oh God, yeah, we were fucking hard in our mind. But no, like I said, man, I remember when you first came to Holy Cross and shit like that, and like Aaron said it best. It's like, who's this kid with all this hip hop music and parental advisory kid? You know, and it's like you introduced Aaron to hip hop, Adam to hip hop, me to hip hop. You know, my love of hip hop and just music in general is kind of what led me to school down in Florida after I graduated high school. And you know, it's just crazy to look back and like see small things and people that touch you along the way that kind of build your pathway in life, and you never really think about it until you actually think about it. You know what I mean? It's like I do now, and it's like, hey, you're probably part of the reason I went to Full Sail, went into music, which in turn led me to working in music, which in turn led me to hate working in music, which now I wouldn't be with Christine if it wasn't because of me getting out of music. So it's small intricacies in life that happen. It's just, you can piece it all together, but sometimes you never really think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I told Aaron, like at that time in my life when I came to Holy Cross, I thought in my mind I was just being myself, because that's all I knew, like from my friends at Door School. Like, you know, I kicked it with like Derek Cochran and Jocko Rogers and people like that, you know. So like that's what we were into, you know. It's like Snoop Dogg and Doggy Style.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre the Chronic.
You came to Holy Cross and you're like, who are these fucking nerds?
It was just, I don't know, man. I didn't think that way. At least I didn't think that way in my mind, but it was just different ways of thinking, right, from how we were brought up. So that's just our experiences, right? Yep. But that's why I think, you know, a lot of times the shit that we see, like people saying and stuff, a lot of the times that shit is just from their experience, right? Good or bad, who knows, right? But that's just where we were in our life.
See, but that's the thing. Good or bad experience, it's all a good experience because it molds you who you are. You know what I mean?
But I think people grow more from like, you know, well, I think there has to be a balance, but at the same time, like those losses, man, if people are afraid to take losses, man, I think that's one of the toughest things, like, because you can't grow.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. But I'm sure you've lost a lot. I've lost a lot, you know. So, but we're still alive and we keep going, and I think that's the important thing, is to constantly keep growing, you know.
And that's the main thing. Like I said, it's really just growing from every experience that you have in life. You know, I've grown the most from the most fucked up decisions I made that were just complete bad decisions. You know what I mean? And I don't think I'd go back and change anything I've ever done in life. And because everything I've ever done has led me to where I'm at today. And I'm happy with who I am. And every single experience that I've had has led me to the life that I've built. And I'm happy to continue building.
Yeah. It must be a constant balance though, like, you know, having a kid and you can kind of see like you can try your best to like guide him, right? And say, all right, if you do these things, you can avoid a lot of the things that I went through. But at the same time, you want to give him that space to grow too, right? And give him that,
oh, for sure,
to make his own mistakes and stuff and learn from it, right?
That was one thing my mom did great, especially, you know, my parents got divorced. I think it was like 6th or 7th grade. Then stayed with mom most of the time. So she was just always one, just, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make bad choices and decisions. Learn from it. You know what I mean? And that's how I'm going to live with Ryder, because it made me stronger. You know, she wasn't one of those moms who was constantly down your throat. Where are you at? What are you doing? You know, what do you want to do? What time are you going to be home? You know, it was what it was. And
she's
the
dope,
more
man.
freedom. Oh yeah, Karen,
Her.
she's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
she's fucking awesome.
She was always nice to me, so I got nothing that I can say on that, right? Except she's dope.
So many people lived in that house too. So many of my friends lived there, like not long periods of time besides Jeremiah, but I'm saying like 5-6 months. People will stay there for that extended amount of time. But yeah, you know, she's great. But you know, like I said, that's how I'm gonna raise Ryder, because hell, I turned out all right.
What's some fucked up shit that he did that you were like, damn, I don't know if I would have done that?
He hasn't done anything like that yet.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy yet. Like, I don't know. It's like during the video game stuff now, you know, it's so weird now. It's like, yeah, I played video games when I was a kid too, but it wasn't like as serious they are into it. But it's one of those things. I think it's technology too. We didn't have fucking Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all that bullshit.
That's
like,
that's what that's what I was gonna ask you. I was gonna say, what is it like raising a kid in this type of day and age, man, where you have to put regulations on that shit? Because if you don't, like, kids can access a whole bunch of shit that I probably would have got into.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, what was it? He had a couple of his buddies staying over the weekend, and I was downstairs in my office where I'm at right now, working on some stuff, and the door was open. I heard one of them say porn. I'm just like, oh, hell no. Like at 12, they're going to start watching porn here. And I was like, that's probably right, man. That's like when I first tried to start finding Hustler magazines and Playboy magazines. Like, it's a whole different era now. It's like, it's 1 second, we're good. You know, you got your phone up, you're good to go. So I'm like, oh, shit. So I'm going to have those talks here soon. Not looking forward to it, because it's just going to be difficult because I didn't have to go through it, you know? Like, yeah, we're old school, man. Give us a magazine.
That's the shit that I would have been on, though, man. If I was his age, at that age, I'd probably be like, yo, because on IG, even girls in your class, man, you'd be checking them out, right? And I'm sure they'd be posting some shit, right? And you'd be like, at that age, I'm talking about at that age, you know what I'm saying? Not like right now. Yeah. But like, but if I was his age,
for sure.
You know, you'd be like, fuck.
I get what you mean. Yeah, hell yeah, I'll be doing that too. But like, it's weird. Like, he's not like, he has a Twitter account. He has Reddit. He goes on Reddit a lot, but it's like always for like video game shit that he plays, like Fallout, Minecraft, and
that's the cover, man.
Probably is. I need to start checking the internet history.
Nah. I'm just saying, man. I ain't trying to get him in trouble, man.
Yo, Ryder, come here. Let me check your shit.
Yeah, but yeah, man, that's some shit, man. The regulations, right? You got to be on that shit sometimes. The parental guidance, but I don't know, man. It's like people you can put. It's like adults too, right? You can try to put regulations on people, but over time they're gonna try to like go around it, right? And try.
Oh, yeah. Like, the more rules I got put on me is like, oh shit, I'm gonna try to break these rules. Like, that's really what it is, you know. Push the boundaries to see how far you can go. Everybody does it, you know. You're a goddamn liar if you say you don't. You know, that's what boundaries are there for, to be pushed. But but yeah, like as a kid especially, like now, man, it's like he's on his phone constantly. The only time he's not on his phone is in school. Like he's at home. He goes to the bathroom, fucking 20 minutes in the bathroom, just on the phone, taking a shit. I'm like, dude, it doesn't take anybody 30 minutes to take a shit. You're just on your phone watching YouTube videos. You know, it's like, what the fuck?
So you think, right?
Oh,
but
I hope so, because it's in the common bathroom, like downstairs in the living room.
Yeah, that's another thing about parenting that must be tough. Is like, damn, you gotta kind of like try your best to like respect their privacy, right?
Very true. Yeah, and I do. It's like I don't check his phone or anything like that. I can always tell when he's not doing something that he's supposed to do, because I'm like, hey, Ryder, and he's like just all quick and trying to hide something real quick. And like, I don't even care. Like, dude, you're whatever. Just I don't care what you're watching. I was like, just you know what you're supposed to watch and what you're not supposed to watch. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's that the supervision. It's just weird because the phone is so easy because it's, I hate saying it, man. It's like a babysitter. It's like, hey, here's your phone. Like, if I get Ryder's phone, he could go in the other room for 3 hours, not come out, and he'd be fine. You know. But at the same time, like you said, it's just they need to get outside. They need to be kids, you know, interact with each other. It's hard now, of course, because COVID and all that bullshit. But you know, it's different than when we were that age, for sure.
Yeah. So you said he doesn't really. Sorry to keep asking questions about your family. It's just,
you're good, man. 100%. You're good.
I was gonna say
those are the best stories usually, anyway, because of the funniest.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, so he doesn't. Well, I'm sure he has his group of friends, but is it mostly like online friends, or does he like go outside and like play ball and like or like play sports or like ride bikes with kids, or is he mostly like online?
They're all friends like from school. They don't go outside, I'll tell you that much. They'll come over here, they'll play video games, like downstairs in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have a couple of them stayed over here on Saturday night. I come downstairs, all 4 of them are on their phone. Like, what are you guys doing? Playing a game together. I don't get it, you know. But to each his own. They have fun with it. They have fun with it. They were good. They were quiet, so it didn't bother me.
Yeah, it trips me out sometimes to think about having kids. I know that's a different kind of journey, right? Eventually, like having kids, that's something that I feel like it will be fun to do, right? Seeing like a little person that looks like you, and that you have to kind of like when they're younger, like guide and coach them into like something, but then at the same time, you don't want to be too controlling to where it's like you restrict them, I think, from becoming what they think they can become.
For sure. And that's the thing, man. Like having a kid, that's the greatest accomplishment that I'll ever do in my life, you know? And I think I said earlier, it's also the weirdest just because I'm too young to have a kid. And I'm a kid myself. But, you know, it's like you said, you know, that's a piece of you, like that you created that human being, you know? And, you know, it's really just not necessarily molding them, but molding them enough to be able to make the right decisions in life, you know, whether it's, you know, the right school to go to, or to play the right sport, or say no to drugs in high school, whatever it might be. I mean, it's just
as he grabs his beer.
Exactly.
Say no to drugs.
Say no to drugs. I'm over 21, so we're good here. But it's like, that's the thing. It's like,
when did we? Sorry to cut you off, man. When did we first start drinking, man? Like what age?
Like I drank in high school, but like I wasn't like a big drinker. It'd be like on the weekends, like at parties and shit like that. So the college, I didn't really drink pretty much all through college. I really don't drink much now. I maybe have like a 12-pack a week. That's like I'd go out, hang out with some buddies on the weekend or something like that at the garage. But I'd say probably my 30s is when I kind of actually started enjoying beer, you know, and actually drinking it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Damn, I think the first time like I tried like a beer like in a social setting I was probably like, damn, maybe like I want to say maybe 13 or 14, man. But I think I would, and which is kind of late because I feel like there were some kids drinking earlier than that. But it was with Aaron of all people.
Of course, it was Aaron.
Yeah, I think it would. I remember being in his room in the basement at his parents' crib, and like for I think maybe his cousin Ryan, his older cousin Ryan, might have got him some beer, and we were drinking it, and I was like, man, I didn't really like see the appeal of it till like later in life when my taste buds kind of changed a little bit, and you get the feeling of drinking, right?
Yeah.
Like how it makes you feel. It makes you feel like you got some extra courage and shit.
Exactly. Open up a little bit. But I was the same way. It's like, I drank, but like I never like thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I was never one of the people that like drink every single day, every night, go out, drink, drink at parties, things like that. But yeah, in 30s hit, even the 20s, I didn't really drink. So like when the 30s hit, it's like, oh man, some beer tastes good. It could have been the fact that we were drinking fucking Keystone Light in high school and shit like that. So that's probably why I didn't like it. That shit's nasty, And once you find like some good beers, find the ones that hit your taste buds, it's quality.
On a side note, like because weed I think is like legal in Illinois now, like I'm sure you can probably get on that like weed maps, right? And get that shit. That's what I do out here in California, man. That shit is legal, so I just had that shit delivered to my crib.
Oh yeah, like you guys got it set though. Like Illinois is a piece of shit as far as the way they got this thing set up. So like it's all grown by like I think 3 or 4 growers statewide. So like there's no competition, so they can set their own prices. Like I think it's like close to like $500 for an ounce, if not more. Like going to the dispensary. I tip my head off to Aaron for fucking wanting to getting in, and doing it, even though most of the time he was doing it was illegal. But now he'd be jeweled to fucking be good to go ahead with it. But yeah, it's just a thing, man. It's like I don't think I had to have the patience for all that logistical bullshit. I have to go through putting up all the paperwork, all the licenses, and all the fees, and all that bullshit. Did you see Congress just decriminalized it? Voted to decriminalize it? What was it? Last Friday?
Yeah.
Thursday or something?
That's what I was just gonna say. Is that once it becomes federally legal, like that's gonna change some things, right? A lot of things maybe, but like I'm not sure. But like I feel like it'll definitely disrupt the black market in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, for sure. If it becomes federally legal and like on a federal level, like we're gonna be seeing like big name brands fucking with their own pot lights, like Johnson and Johnson, Procter and Gamble, fucking joints and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like all these like medicinal companies are gonna start getting in the weed game. Fuck, I don't blame them. They're gonna have the money to do it and spend it. But I'm interested to see where everything goes, like in 5 to 6 years, especially. Now that we got it decriminalized. Let's go ahead and get it declassified off the class 1 narcotic. That's probably one of the first things we should probably do. And if we can get it going on the federal scale, like it'd be good. Like because people are gonna buy it, and like potheads never hurt nobody. We're too lazy to do it anyway. It's weird, man. It's like I keep up with you because you're on fucking in social media, so I can't keep up with you. Aaron's not on social media, so I reach out to him every month or 2 months or so often. Nick, he's a ghost. He ain't nowhere around, so I'm always texting him.
You're talking about Nick Delaney?
Yeah. He
would be an interesting person to get on here, right? I haven't talked to him in years, man.
Nick's my fucking buddy, man. I did so cool. But yeah, he's not on any social media, so it's like me reaching out to fucking him once every couple months, checking in. So it's just crazy. Everybody's gone our separate ways, and crazy enough, everybody's in different places now. You know what I mean? Like everybody we hung out with, Nick's in bumfuck Missouri somewhere, I don't even know where, somewhere like in the middle of nowhere. Aaron's up there in Portland, you're out in LA, and it's just nuts how we all ended up.
Yeah. Yep. I remember Mrs. Lockman in Holy Cross saying something along the lines of, by the time we get to like certain ages, like we'll be like totally like different, like in different places, or even like a different mind state, and she was right.
She was 100%.
Yeah.
But I think that's the cool thing though. It's like us talking right now, like this is basically us having a conversation like nothing was changed in the last 15, 20 years. We're still talking about some of the same shit. A lot of stuff we're talking about, like we've grown as individuals and as a people, but like I don't think I could do that with everybody, because I'm talking to you and I'm still thinking of you as Brandon from fucking high school, from fucking grade school. Like I look at some people now and it's like, oh man, you're an old fucking person now. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if I'm wrong for thinking that on some people, but it's like it's not every day. It's like you can still talk to friends and like still have that same conversation, that same feeling that you did when it was back in the day.
I enjoy that, man. That's one thing I did in my life, man, and was drive like Uber and Lyft through LA for like a year, and that was one of the like funnest jobs I've had because you never know who's gonna get in your car, and you gotta think quick about like you don't have to because there's some drivers that don't care about the conversation, but for me, like I always appreciated a good conversation with somebody. It just gives you energy and it helps you like think differently.
Yeah, for sure. Learn a whole new perspective from a whole different view on life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. There's so many different directions that a conversation can go down. You know what I'm saying? It's good seeing you though, man.
You too, man. You too, brother. So fuck, how long have you been out in LA now?
Since 2011, so about almost 10, going on 10 years. Yeah, it's been a while, man. A lot of ups and downs, but it's like survival. I think wherever you choose to make your home, it's all about survival.
For sure. And fucking out in LA, it's the survival of the fittest too, brother.
Yeah, it could be tough. It could be tough out here, but I think on that same note, like life is what we make it, right?
Yeah. That's it. I would love to move to San Diego in a heartbeat. Just because surfing down there, because I was big into surfing down in Florida for the longest time. Then got the mountains for snowboarding, a Big Bear right up the fucking road. And one of the coolest things I ever did in my life, we were out visiting Christine's brother. And you go surfing in the morning, snowboard in the afternoon. I was like, how fucking cool is that type of shit? Like, that's the type of lifestyle I want to live, Like, I'd say that's the biggest regret back from Florida is moving away from the ocean. Like, something that was just so near and dear to me, and like something that I just loved and enjoyed so much. And like, I have not been surfing in so long, and it's the only thing that fucking kills me about not being in Florida still.
Yeah, you got old and became a conservative, man.
I'm still a liberal through and through, brother. don't let the gray hair fool you.
Do you follow politics, man?
Yeah, I follow pretty closely. I think
I don't want to take you down a political road, man. But I feel like I feel like it's interesting to hear people's perspectives.
No, I'm fine with that. It's like it's one of those things. Like I vote for more of a moral purpose than anything else. So yeah, I'm a registered Democrat, but like I voted for Republicans before. Like I of course voted more Democrats than anything. I voted for Bush in the first election. I voted Obama twice. And obviously voted fucking anybody that's fucking Trump for 2016. It's like one of those things. It's like just because you're a Republican doesn't mean I hate you. We have different views. Like it's always been that way. It's just social media and like just so many different platforms are now available where you can just quickly bash somebody for believing something that's completely opposite in you. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's like it's not necessarily I'm right and you're wrong or I'm wrong and you're right. It's just fuck man, we have a difference of opinion. Let's leave it at that. It is what it is. Like I just can't get hung up on like going on Facebook, people bashing people they love and their friends, their family. I'm like, really? Like this is what's gonna affect your friendships? Like this type of bullshit? Like
that's just real though, man. I have some issues sometimes with like family and friends too, but like I try to work through it though, you know what I'm saying? But it's real, and that's why I get it. People are like, don't talk about religion and politics, right?
Yeah, don't talk about religion, politics. You never know who you're gonna offend.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like you gotta talk about it, but you gotta talk about it in a respected manner. You know what I mean? Like my best friends now are staunch Republicans. I love them to death, but we disagree on politics, and it is what it is. Like we still get along because you know why? We're fucking adults. Like we can do that type of shit, and that's the thing. Like I just don't get like all the pettiness,
But what's tougher though? Like disagreements in politics with family or friends? Which one do you think hurts more?
I would say friends. be honest with you, because you pick your friends based on being like-minded like you. You know, you don't pick your family. Your family's chosen for you. But your friends are, you pick. And, you know, it's a lot of the friends I'm with now that are Republicans, you know, I've been friends with them for a long time, but we were never into politics. We are now, just because we're getting older and that we care about that type of stuff. You know, I care about not my future, but Ryder's future, his kid's future. And, you know, especially the last 4 years, Trump did some good things. I'm not going to lie. Like, yeah, he did some great things. But I morally can't tell my kid to look up to this man. Like, hey, Ryder, grow up to be like him. I can't do it. You know, it's, I don't know how people can either. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the leader of the free world. Like, that's supposed to be the most respected person in the whole goddamn world. And
I think that's real. That's some real shit, man.
I support the Republican Party. I support the Democrat Party. Support the Independent Party. I just don't support that man. like that's through and through. Like, we're gonna look back 30, 40 years from now. Our kids are gonna be like, "What the fuck? like, our parents voted for this shit? Like, what the fuck?" You know, like, that's how I honestly think it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's something that I think about too, right? Is as I get older, I'm like, is this guy Trump something that you want your kids to like look up, like his sound bites or whatever he said on Twitter, right? And be like, yo, should we follow this guy? That's where it gets tough, right?
Yeah, and like I said, it's like, yeah, he actually did some good things, but I just, calling myself a good, sound, moral, judgment type of human being, like, I could never get behind that. Not granted, fucking Hillary Clinton's no better. Like, that lady's the demon herself. You know, like, we got two bad choices in 2016, and you know, at least in my personal opinion, we're on the right direction now. You know, with Biden and Kamala Harris coming to the office, you know, it's the change we fucking needed. And I know a lot of people are pretty butthurt right now that Trump lost, and you know, it's one of those things, like, on a day-to-day level, whoever president of the United States is, it's not going to affect your daily, day-to-day life as much as you think it does. They're a figurehead. You know, they run the free world, obviously, but, like, it shouldn't rile you up enough to where it's going to affect you emotionally, mentally, or affect your life in any way, shape, or form. And I just think it does for too many people on both sides of the aisle, you know. The crazy the crazy leftist and the good old boy right wing people too. You know what I mean? It happens on both sides. No, it's just one of those things where it's like people take it way too serious.
I agree 100%. It's pretty crazy, man. Like, that's why politics is such kind of like a weird thing to me, because I don't know how and why it affects like so many people's emotions, right? One way or the other. And I think like me and you, like most rational people, they can take a step back and try to empathize with both sides, right? The best that we can. Most sane people, I think, meet somewhere in the middle, right?
And that's where we're getting off course at. It's like, it's starting to seem there's not like a lot of sane people here. You know? It's like, if this affects people this much, like, you know, there's something wrong. And, you know, especially now, it's like the blatant lies that we're hearing, and you know, he won the election. If you count all the legal votes, like, you're undermining a democracy that's been the top of the world since pretty much our inception in the 1700s. That's like, he's doing a disservice. Like, he's a sore loser, man. It's bad. It's bad. It's more comedic than anything else too. It's like, I hate saying this, but the greatest thing that's came out of the presidency is probably the SNL skits for the last 4 years. Man, those things are fucking fire. Like, do you watch SNL at all?
I don't really watch it. The last thing that I've seen from SNL was the Ice Cube and who was the other dude? That it was Jim Carrey playing Biden, and then it was Lil Wayne, Ice Cube and Lil Wayne. Do you know which skit I'm talking about?
I think so.
Because they were in the news at that time for saying some controversial statements or teaming up with Trump and stuff.
Trump,
yeah. So SNL, but I don't really normally watch it. But
neither did I until the last 4 years, man. And like, some of these sketches that they do are just, it's just pure comedic gold, you know. You should go back and watch some of them.
Talking about SNL, you know, there was a teacher that we had at Holy Cross. You remember Chuck Schlee?
Yeah, Mr. Schlee. I'm friends with him on Instagram.
How's he doing, man? He was always cool, man. He was a down to earth guy, man. That's why I respected him.
He was always cool. He's doing good from what I see. Like, he's still into the church really big. I think he's a preacher now, I want to say, maybe, or a principal maybe, or something like that. But if you remember his wife, Mary, they're still married. Their kids are probably in their 30s now, I'd say, you know, so it's not young anymore. But like, yeah, I just keep up with him on Instagram. But no, he was always one of my favorite teachers. I can't remember. Remember when we went to Six Flags for the school trip? It's probably what, seventh grade maybe.
I think so. Yeah, vaguely, but yeah.
I remember he drove us out there, and that was like the first time I thought he was really cool because we were like in 6th or 7th grade when I can't remember how old we were when we had the school trip, but he was chewing tobacco on the way out there. I was like, oh man, one of our teachers chews tobacco. Like that's fucking pretty cool. You know, I just remember thinking that when I was a kid.
Shit, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, crazy. It was crazy. It's a weird just memory that I have, you know.
It was pretty crazy. Yeah, he kept it real though. He was one of the real ones. So, but I bring him up because he would talk. I remember him talking about watching SNL at that time.
What are you up to now? You know, I know you got the podcast going. You doing anything else out there in LA?
Nah, just basically grinding on this podcast, man. Just
nice.
Yeah.
What are you doing that, man?
Yeah, it's always something that I wanted to do, and I was like, man, I don't want to wait till I get old to try to do it, you know?
Yeah.
I'd rather try when I'm young, and then if I fail, I feel like I'll still have enough like mental and physical energy to work a job if I have to, you know?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what's the worst that could happen, man? Say if I try different ventures and they fail, and then by the time I'm 40, like I have to say, all right, let me go get a corporate job and work the next 25 years of my life here. I think I can do that if I want to play that role. You know what I'm saying?
Don't play that role, though. Don't play that role. Unless it's something you love to do. That's the thing, you know. It's, you know, when I lived in Florida, you know, I worked at the university actually I went to school at, and you know, fuck man, I made great money. I was making 6 figures down there. Probably the last 5 years I was living down there, but I was fucking miserable. And like the stopping point is I came home one day and Christine's like, you just need to quit. And like I was always under mentality I needed money to maintain a lifestyle to keep her happy. And that was very far from the case, you know. And when she told me, it's like, you know, you need to quit. And that's when we kind of decided to move back up here. And, you know, I did my own thing for like 2.5 years. Ran a kind of a social media company, whatnot. You know, just doing small like mom and pop social media things. Did some couple of websites, building them out. Most of the stuff, you know, I'd get the job and outsource it to, you know, a couple of agencies that I worked with. But I don't mind working in the corporate side of things. You know, like I actually enjoy it. Like now working at a marketing company. You know, I oversee basically digital implementation. So I work with like websites, social media campaigns, PPC campaigns, and I enjoy it. But the thing is always having that side hustle. And that's kind of where my photography, like, yeah, I did photography down in Florida, you know, but it was more of like surf photography, you know.
No, I was laughing because I was like, yo, that's like the shit that in my mind when you were saying that you work for like these marketing companies, like for social media. I was like, man, that's like the documentary that I saw called Social Dilemma.
I haven't saved my queue. I want to watch it so bad though.
Yeah, but it's about these different corporations that like form these companies, right? And then they like have their teams that they try to like influence like people on these different like popular apps like Facebook and Instagram. Do you believe that shit?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, 100%. Like, and the whole reason is because kind of goes back to like what we were talking about politics. People are going to believe what they read, what they're told on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. And if you get enough people saying the same thing over and over, regardless if it's a lie or not, if it's marketing a product or whatever it might be, enough people are going to buy it and buy into the hype, you know. So it's totally a thing, you know, and it's crazy, you know, because we're in a digital world and we're only going to get more digital as our lives go on, and it's only going to get crazier and crazier with this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've been kind of like working in that space too, like the social media on the YouTube grind and all that shit. And I'm like, there's ways that I know like you can like kind of like I guess pay to like get a bigger audience. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, there's audience farms you can get a hold of, for followers or whatever it might be, or video views, things like that. It's just weird. Like no matter, it's like loopholes, I guess you could call it. People aren't watching your shit. Hey, there's a company who can make people do it. They're not real. That's basically bots, but enough views are going to come around where the algorithms on YouTube or wherever it's going to realize, okay, there's more views. Let's boost this up more and more, get in front of more people. So it's crazy, how much just technology in general can drive our daily actions, and you don't even really think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think about that, sometimes because I'm like, man, I feel like if I paid, I can probably generate more traffic. You know what I'm saying? But then I'm like, then am I selling out and not being real? Because sometimes I'm like, man, if I do that and I'm not ready, or I don't know what I'm about and shit before like that shit happens, like how can you be real, right?
It's not about not being real if you're paying to play. It's one of those things. That's why it's out there. Look at it as you're investing in yourself, because that's literally what it is. You have a great product. You trust in yourself. You trust in your product. You're going to promote the shit out of it if you believe in it. You know what I mean? And you're going to do it any which way you can. But yeah, it's just one of those things where there's so many different avenues nowadays for anybody. Whether it's if you fucking do stupid trick shots like with the basketball online and have tens of millions and billions of views, or if you putting makeup on, like what the fuck, really, like that type of shit. Like we're in a different age, and it's weird because we're in that cusp right now. It's like we grew up with it, but we didn't fully grow up with all this shit. You know what I mean? Cool technology to us in like junior high, a CD player. Like that was cool to us. Like now it's like, what the fuck? What's a CD player? You got that Spotify, you got that iTunes, and it's just, there's so many ways to really take advantage of this kind of digital media era. And, like I said, it's not going to be selling out. That's investing in yourself and the product that you're going to believe in and get to the next level with it.
I feel you. Yeah, it's just things that I wrestle with in my mind. I'm like, but I feel like I like those stories where people like grow their stuff like organically and through just like grit and grind. For example, like Nipsey Hussle, man. Are you familiar with his story?
I'm familiar, yeah. I was a fan of Nipsey for sure. Homegrown, fucking from nothing to something, type of story.
Yeah.
Pretty much every hip hop artist we listened to back in the day, same thing. From nothing to something. It's that homegrown hustle.
Who were some of your favorite like hip hop artists when we were growing up, like say in our teenage years?
Dude, honestly, looking back on now, 3-6 Mafia was always one of my faves. Do or Die, Twista, like a lot of the Chicago people up there. Bone Thugs, of course, like that's fucking classic. Like you can't go wrong there. Then I was a fan of Tupac and Biggie. I never got into the East Coast, West Coast bullshit. Like, hey, they're both dope. I'm gonna listen to both of them. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the ones I listened to most. Growing up, and I don't know, the new guys now, it ain't the same, man. You hear it too. I don't know. It's not bad. It's just not. It's not the same.
Yeah.
I want the old school shit.
Do you keep up with like any of the newer artists through like your son?
It's funny that you mentioned that. I was just looking at my my top 100 on Spotify for 2020. I was like, man, you think I'm like a 13-year-old schoolgirl or something with my fucking playlist that was going on. I was like, you got Drake, fucking Harry Styles, Watermelon Sugar. That was my number one song of 2020. I'm a 38-year-old man, and Watermelon Sugar is my number one song of 2020. Like, what the fuck, man? What's that say about me? But hey, shout out to Harry Styles, though. That's a dope ass song.
Are you playing these tracks because you like them, or because you have to, because your son likes them or your wife likes them?
Dude, I just listen to so much music, so I kind of mentioned it earlier. I have such an eclectic taste in music, as far as I can listen to anything. Like, when I'm at work, I work from home. So, that's 9-10 hours a day that I'm like in my office where I'm at right now. I have Spotify on just in the background or whatever it might be. Then if I'm on like a photo editing photos for a client, I turn on my music, listen to that, let that jam out, So honestly, I probably listen to a good 50, 60 hours of music just a week, just in everything that I do. It's such a big part. And thank God that I can listen to such different genres of music, because it does give me so many options to go ahead and go through, whether it's listen to a country playlist, go listen to some like old school roots reggae, listen to some, R&B music. One of my go-tos recently, especially for like editing photos, is going to some Miles Davis, John Coltrane, people like that, Louis Armstrong, like that old school like jazz music. And man, it's music, man. It's awesome. It gives you so much emotion. It's the one thing in the world that every single person on this earth enjoys.
I can't disagree with that, man. That's one thing I agree with absolutely 100% is the older I get, like I try to play music like more throughout the day, because I think sometimes if people that don't listen to music, I think if they're just listening to their thoughts in their head, sometimes their thoughts can be negative, right? But if you put on some positive like reggae shit, like Revolution.
Revolution, that's my shit right there. I've seen them in concert a few times.
Oh, okay. How were they live, man? I listen to their shit a lot. I would definitely check them out live though. I want to.
It's funny. It's me and Christine both agree they're the one band that sounds exactly the same, if not better, live than they actually do on the albums. Because like the dude's, he's got a very unique style of voice, and it sounds exactly the same when they play live too. And that's a rarity.
One artist that I feel the same way about is R. Kelly.
Hey man, he's a fucking weirdo. I hope the dude rots in hell. But like, the dude can fucking make some music. Dude can make some fucking music.
Yeah, I've seen him live like I think twice, and yeah, he definitely sounds good like live as well as on his record. Because yeah, you were talking about Revolution, but I was like, yeah, R. Kelly's kind of like that too. But that's dope, man. Revolution, man, they definitely have some very like inspiring songs.
It's very rare that I can find like a band or just an artist in general you can start the album, just let it go through. They're definitely one of those artists. And it goes back to his voice. He's got a very unique voice. It's soothing, it's gentle, not to sound gay or anything, but it's gentle, it's like it brings you in, it relaxes you.
Yeah, it's all positive vibes, man. Like the stuff that the sound, and then the stuff that they like sing about. But yeah, when did you like start like experimenting with like different music? Or because I know people like their taste changes, right? Their musical taste from when they're young to where they're at as they get older, right? At least
yeah, for sure.
I think a lot of people, right? Some people give up on music, right? But what were some of your stages like from a young age till now?
Oh man, I could take you through every stage. So we got a grade school era. Started with hip hop. Junior high, moved to more of the grunge rock during the Seattle phases. High school, kind of moved back to more of the hip hop, grunge rock. So kind of a little bit of both during that. Then in college is really when I first found out about kind of more of like the surf rock music, like Revolution, Slightly Stupid, Pepper, 311, bands like that. And that's probably the one I play the most, honestly, that type of music when I'm playing. But listening to that probably all through college, and after college, even when I was working in music, most of the shit I did was for like small hip hop artists, small rock artists, but I still listen to the same, more of the surf rock, alternative rock type of stuff. And probably my late 20s started like listening to songs more for the lyrics, so kind of got more into like country music. So listened to some of that, and it's not bad. I actually surprisingly enjoy some country songs, some country music. It's not on a lot, but like you could put on a radio station and I could sit there and listen to country and I'd be fine with it.
You be messing with that dude, Kane Brown?
No, that dude's voice, that's fucking deep ass voice. Yeah, that dude's pretty fire. He's more of that pop country though, He got to that spot where like he started out country, then he got really famous. And he's like, let's just put you with some pop artists and we'll call it a day. But no, he's good. I like him. I like him. But
one thing, like I like music, but one thing that I learned when I was like driving through the streets of LA, human trafficking. I would listen to music, but sometimes it would get very repetitive. So like I would start listening to podcasts, and I started listening to Joe Rogan's podcast a lot, you know. So I was going to ask you, do you listen to podcasts a lot?
I do some. Joe Rogan, he's probably the one I listen to the most, if any. Then a lot of the podcasts I listen to is just like a news podcast, like NPR News. The one I did listen to recently that I actually forgot to save it, and it really has been pissing me off like the last 2 weeks. It's a podcast about like growing up with murderers. Woody Harrelson was actually on it. I don't know if you know this backstory with Woody Harrelson, but his dad was like a hitman for the mob and shit like that. So he was on it. Then I listened to that episode, and I got hooked, and I just can't remember the freaking name of it because I've been wanting to save it, because basically it's just talks about like that type of stuff, like just growing up with murderers and things like that. But you know, it's maybe once or twice a week I'll listen to a podcast. But like if I see like a Joe Rogan clip that's like trending online or something like that, it's usually like when I go watch his, which most of the time they're trending somewhere. But mostly just news podcasts, things like that. There is one podcast that I do listen to I didn't want to mention because it's kind of weird. The Challenge Mania podcast.
What do they do in that?
Oh, it's such a guilty pleasure. You know that TV show, or do you watch TV at all?
Nah, not too much.
I was gonna say, well, there's a show that's been on MTV for like the last like 30 years that I've been watching called The Challenge, and they have a podcast about the TV show, and it's like one of those ones I'll watch or listen to every once in a while. It's just like one of those guilty pleasures talking about reality TV stars. So it's so sad, but it's interesting. I like it.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you gotta do some things that you enjoy, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You can't be all stressed out all the time, right?
Oh, you can be stressed out all the time, but it's at least a little break from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you, man.
I'll tell you, man, like I'm a man of routine, which is bad and good at sometimes. You know, it's like during the weeknights, like I'm usually upstairs in my bed by like 9:30, asleep by 10, up by 5 the next day, go about my routine, you know, coffee, take a dump, fucking smoke a cigarette, grab, you know, drink another cup of coffee, go to work in the basement and shit like that, you know. But, you know, it's nice to get the routine thrown off every once in a while because it makes you feel alive again.
Yeah, I feel you, definitely. It's definitely, I think that's the mental challenge, right? Is trying to keep your mind active, right? You don't want to get too stuck in the same routine, but like if you have something that like kind of like throws off your routine a little bit, it kind of gives you some new energy.
Oh, for sure, absolutely, and because it makes you reevaluate and rethink. You know, like you said, it makes you think, and once you get complacent, that's when you die. You know.
Yeah.
Always keep it on your toes.
Mm-hmm. Are you a reader at all?
Yeah, from time to time. It's one of those things that's weird too. It's like I can pick up a book and read any fucking biography of any single person in the whole goddamn world, and I'd be fine with it, and I'd read it through and through. That's about it. It's like biography books are like my only go-to. And I'll be completely honest, I probably haven't read anything in so long. The last thing I read was probably, I got it right here, probably backwards. You're not that great, but neither is anybody else.
Oh, okay.
Fucking solid read. The guy's name's Elon Gale. He's a producer for The Bachelor, the TV show. Just a funny book, just talking about like, kind of like we were saying earlier, people think their shit don't stink. But guess what? It does. Everybody's shit stinks. You know, nobody's better than the next person. You know, we're all fucking the same, equal value in the world, in the universe as a whole. It's like, get off your fucking high horses and realize that you're a fucking douchebag just like everybody else is, you know?
I think that's a mind state, right? It takes time to grow out of, right?
Yeah.
And some people, they never grow out of it, but I think a lot of it is just like trying our best to diminish our ego every day, right? But it's hard.
Very hard. One of the hardest things for me, like just in my job in general, like just my professional career, it's like, it's so hard for me not just to call people every like 10 minutes of a day, you know? And it's not that I'm better than them. It's just, I think on a different level, being that one, the people I work with are usually younger, like they're in their 20s, so it's usually their first job. So like they're going through those life changes that are huge on them part right now. So it's like I've been around the block a little bit more once or twice, but it's one of those things. It's like I have a very different outlook than most people have, like just on life. You know, like I was saying earlier, you know, I don't know what I want to do next week or the week after. I want to focus on what I want to do on today, put everything I have in me behind that for today. I'll worry about tomorrow when I wake up, you know, because tomorrow is never promised. You know, it's never guaranteed that we're going to wake up tomorrow. So why worry about the future when you can focus on the present? Yeah, it's funny because, like, you know, Christine, again, like I was saying earlier, man, she's supportive in all I do. And it's funny, like, you know, she can tell if I'm stressed out. She'll be like, go in the garage, you know, go get your mind right type of thing. And I can't thank my lucky stars enough, you know, just for her being there, because most people wouldn't put up with my shit. You know what I mean? And she's been there since day one, and that girl's my best friend. She's down to earth. She's everything I could ask for and so much more. And it's just one of those things. I got lucky because not many people can maintain what I do throughout life and still be cool with it. You know, it's like at a point, you got to stop doing that. You got to do this. You got to do that. You know, I look at some of our friends, and you probably know some people the same way. It's like they're fucking straight laced, man. It's like this, and this. You know, it's fucking live your life, do what you want to do. You know, find somebody who's going to support you with it.
Yeah. Going back to high school, like, what was your experience like at Metro? Did you like it?
It was all right. Like, people were cool there. It's just all my friends went to fucking Collinsville. Like, even like in junior high, I hung out with all the kids that went to North Junior High anyway, a lot of times. So, you know, all my friends were there, so I just wanted to go there. And it was high school, so I was starting to experiment with drugs and shit like that, being a stupid teenager. So that was another reason. And, you know, I transferred over there, January of, I don't even know what it was, like 98, 99, somewhere around there maybe. But it was fun. I had a good time at Collinsville. Had a great group of friends, partied a lot. Like, I can look back in high school, even though I didn't do well in high school as far as like academically and shit like that, because I just didn't care. Like, high school was some fucking great times, man. Like, I think it's like everybody always says, oh, it's the best times of my life. I'm not going to say it's the best times of my life, but like, I have some great memories that no matter what, I will always remember that, because just the people I was around, and like I'm still great friends with some of those people too as well, which is, you know, even cooler.
It's a journey. Life is a journey, man.
Very much so. It's a journey that you can guide, but you can't control.
Yeah. You know who I looked up recently, man, was Thad Sankey. You remember him? I'm
connected with him on Facebook. Yeah, I don't keep up with him. Like, I'm friends with him on Facebook. So like, he's got a couple kids. He's married.
Yeah, he's a basketball coach now, huh?
Yeah. Like, I can go into some of those wormholes, start looking for people online. Like, who did I look for recently? Jason Jukes. I was trying to find him. I don't think he's anywhere online.
You couldn't find him, man?
Peter Picard. I looked for him. I couldn't find him either.
Who else, man? Like, yeah.
Oh, man, like, everybody else I could pretty much find. Like, Nathan Larson. Me and him are friends on Facebook. He's doing good. He's got a wife and a kid.
Yeah.
Adam Reynolds. He's doing good.
Right on.
I'd say Nick would definitely be somebody I'd be interested to talk with, because Nick is not the most conversationalist person. So I'd love just to see him in an awkward spot talking on a podcast. That'd be the fucking best.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I think maybe if he has like a drink or blazes trees, he'll loosen up a little bit.
He could a little bit.
Yeah. We'll get him to talk, right?
He's good people though. Him and Tanya are awesome. I talk to her probably more than I talk to him, just through, she's every once in a while she'll send me like a Snapchat of him and her. I'm like, oh, tell him I said hi. Shit like that, you know?
Yeah. That's what's up, man. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. That's why like I kind of enjoy doing these like podcast episodes is because I can kind of like, you know, catch up with some people that I used to know like in the past, or some not as well, but some like, or some people that we shared moments in time, you know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I saw you just had the Wayne episode. I haven't listened to it yet. I got to save it to my playlist. I'm interested to see that. Wayne was always a fucking character, man. That dude he was something else.
Yeah, see, I only remember him from like small parts, but did you like hang out with him more like at a certain period in your life?
He was more friends of people that I hung out with quite frequently. Like, so Wayne always hung out with Dane Tebow, who is still one of my best friends. I still talk to Dane pretty much every single day. So him and Wayne always hung out with like Chipper, Justin Clayton, Dan Munoz. Like I still hang out with Dan Munoz all the time too, as well. So like I knew Wayne through all of those guys. So like I never hung out with Wayne on a consistent basis, but he was always around.
Oh, okay.
Always a good dude.
Yeah, Wayne's cool, man.
Yeah, he's a fucking character, man.
I be peeping out his shit. That Mystic Fern stuff, it looks pretty dope.
The tie-dye shirts, man. Yeah, those are fucking sick. I like them.
Yeah, I always tell him I gotta cop something, which I probably will soon.
I support those local businesses and your buddies, you know.
Yeah, I'll probably cop some jewelry from Alex too eventually in the future, man.
The funny thing is, like when he first launched, I remember I was about ready to buy something. There was some reason I didn't, but yeah, I'm actually gonna go back and get something off his website now.
Yeah,
because it's just about supporting your buddies, you know, and a small business in general. You know, as much as I stick it to the man, stick it to Amazon, but it's so fucking goddamn convenient, you know, and I need something, I want it. I'm going to order it on Amazon.
That's right, man. Shit, Walmart's trying to get in the game too, man. They've been stepping their game up during this pandemic.
The only good thing Walmart's for is going there and people watching. Weird motherfuckers are going there.
Yeah. Which one do you go to, man?
When I have to go, I go to the one down
Glen
on
Carbon.
the Bluff.
Glen Carbon?
No, I don't go to I should go to that one. That's probably a little bit more sane. I go to the one in Collinsville down by like on the Bluff by the Home Depot and shit. That's super Walmart. Get those super weirdos in there, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Because that one's right off the freeway, man. So, like, it's like anybody. It's like the intersection of, like, all different places, right? So, it's like
Yep.
You get random people from everywhere, man.
It's something else, man. That's all I got to say. I don't know.
That would be crazy, man, if to do, like, a video in there. Like, if I came home and shot a vlog inside Walmart, man, that would be a trip.
You get millions and millions of views. Hands down.
I would fit right in. They'd be like, "Who's this weirdo?"
You do like a live stream once a week. You'd be good to give me golden.
This is crazy, man. Do you keep up with anybody else from Holy Cross or not? Just Aaron and Nick, pretty much.
Just Aaron and Nick. Jenna actually just did a photo shoot for her and her daughters. It's like talk to her every once in a while. She's doing good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, how did you get into, like, photography, man? And how long have you been doing it for?
Literally got into it when I was down in Florida. I had a GoPro, and I'd use that just to surf and film me and my buddies surfing down there. Then my buddy had a cheap-ass fucking Nikon camera that I'd use to sit on the beach, and I'd set it up and just, like, take a picture every, like, 5 minutes where we were surfing at. So I got into it that way. Then ultimately, I have a good friend of mine, Patrick Perez, who's a great photographer, probably somebody I look up to the most out of anybody. And he's into like night photography, like long exposures, like the light streams and shit like that you see. So kind of just started following him around, trying to figure that shit out. And got into it that way. Then when I moved back up to St. Louis, I was like, I did photography as a hobby. You know, I was taking shots of landscapes. I was like, let me make some money off this. So I started doing like a lot of real estate photography. Got into like shooting like portraits and everything like that. And about a year ago, teamed up with the guy I work with at my marketing company that I work at. And he was a photographer. So we started our own business called The Journeys. Then we hired a videographer as well too. And it's probably been about 7-8 years been doing photography. Then we're trying to go full force into it now, moving into 2021, and been pretty busy the last like 3 months with shoots and shit like that. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's good, man. At least it's something that you enjoy, right? And
Oh
hopefully,
man, I love it. I love it. It's weird. It's like I always tell my business partner this too. It's like I like taking photos of people, but I so much more enjoy like the editing process, like where the creativity is at. Like being able to go in and manipulate a photo the way you want it to manipulate it. Whether it's editing the color of it or just editing the style of it in general. That's the part I really enjoy is more of the creative aspects of it.
yeah, that's pretty crazy you say that because like this podcast episode that I'm dropping like tomorrow morning with my guy Uncanny, like we had a pretty like deep conversation and I told him the same thing. I was like, for me, like that's the part I don't like is editing like different
Oh,
shit.
for real?
Yeah, like doing all the thumbnails and like editing like the video and audio for these. I just like coming in here, getting high, smoking, and talking.
That's
But
what it is.
but he said some people really like the editing process. He's like, there's some people that don't really care about like, certain aspects. They just focus on the editing process, which I feel like that's something that you're saying. Is like you just like the editing process.
No, that's one favorite part. Like I bought a really nice camera, like top of the line camera. A lot more than I probably should have paid for it, but it is what it is. Like just so I can know I can get good quality photos, because like I had a decent camera before, it wasn't the best, but I could still take those decent photos and make them wonderful. But like now I can fucking take a photo out of the camera that's fucking amazing and make it even better. And that's my element. It's just like when I can kind of let my creativity go. Like that's the one time like if I sit down and edit photos, I was telling you about Miles Davis, John Coltrane. That's my editing music. Like I turn that shit on and I just get in a fucking zone, smoke a bowl, whatever it might be, and like I just go at it. It's just I don't know. It's just one of those things where editing. You probably see it because you're editing these podcasts. Like it's a tedious process, but I enjoy that tedious process of it because it's the manipulation and me personally being able to create something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I was gonna say like that's one thing is like I know like over time if I want to pump out more volume in podcasts, like I need to find like a video editor. And but the thing that I wrestle with in my mind is like finding like a editor that has the same like vision as me, like
Yeah.
how he would see the conversation. You know what I mean?
Well, you're a perfectionist, I imagine, right?
Yeah. So it would be
Yeah.
it
So
would
it's
be
like
tough.
it's
Yeah.
the hard part of giving up those things. And I deal with that all the time too, as well. Like I'm very much a structured type of individual. I like certain things. I look at things in a certain way, and like in my 9 to 5 job, it's like our designer might create something that I might not agree with, or our senior designer might create something I don't agree with, and it's hard for me to like go along with it, or our copywriter, it could be any creative form, whether it's writing, design, strategy, editing of photos, editing a video. It's just like a particular way of doing things. And, it's a process. Like you said, like your buddy probably said on the video, it's either you love it or you hate it. There's no in between.
Yeah. The only thing I would think of is a way to have someone kind of that can like a third party to edit is that you kind of like take to somebody and like mentor them.
Yeah.
Like if they can like do like an internship and they just watch how you do it and then you talk to them every day so they understand your vision and then you can trust them over time, right? But that takes time, right? It's hard to find people.
It's very hard to find people. It's one of those things where it's like you'd have to find a process that works for it. Whether it's like they sit in on the interviews and you give them a thumbs up or something, like make sure you get this in, or thumbs down, take this, make sure you get this out, so you can kind of keep a log of it. But like you said, finding the individual with the same vision, the same like mind, that's always the hard part because very similar to you, like me, being a perfectionist. It's like we got a way of doing things, and our way's always the right way, no matter what.
Yep, that's right, man. Yeah, it takes a lot of trust, right? You have to be willing to trust somebody. It takes time to develop trust too.
It's like that. What's that old saying? If you want something done right, do it yourself.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. But like sometimes you don't have the time to do it yourself, or you have to kind of get to that next level where you have to give it up and kind of put that trust in somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How long you and your girl been together for?
Damn, we've been together for a minute now, probably for maybe 7 years. But
damn,
it's been a while.
I had no idea.
Yeah. She doesn't like to be on social media and stuff, so I try to respect her. But
I'll say obviously because I didn't even know you guys were together for that long.
So she's a nurse though.
Nice. That's what Christine does.
Oh, okay. Nice. Has she been more nervous about COVID-19 since she's in that industry, or she's chill?
When the first wave hit, because she normally works on the rehab floor, so she actually is the head nurse, and she oversees all the nurses and does all that shit. So she does more of the admin, whatever. Now, but when COVID first hit in St. Louis, they actually converted her floor to the COVID unit. So she was the one dealing with the patients and everything like that. So she's taking it pretty serious, and God love her, man. She's been fucking hit hard, just going in early, leaving late, just working nonstop. So cases picking up here again, obviously, in St. Louis. So who knows what's going to be next couple of months. But yeah, she's taking it pretty seriously as far as making sure that we're, as a family, taking the necessary precautions needed to at least not eliminate our chances, but negate them enough. Yeah, decrease them and negate them enough where we're doing everything we can not to get it,
Yeah, it's tough because my girl, she's mad paranoid and OCD about COVID, and for me, I'm a little bit more relaxed about it. So we would fight about it, but I think now we're at a good place where we kind of understand each other. And
nice.
but COVID-19, that's one of those heavily politicized topics, because
sure,
there's some people that are mad scared and some people that just don't care,
And I think that's the problem right there in itself. It's some people just don't take the precautions at all, not wearing face masks, not going by social distancing, things like that. And it's one of those things where it's an inconvenience for the time being, wearing a mask. But if everybody just did that, or everybody just did all they could to social distance for 3-4 weeks, I honestly think we could probably have these things under control. Now, granted, I'm not a doctor or scientist or anything like that. It's just that's going on basic logic. This is spread the way it is through, particles coming out when you sneeze or you talk or you cough or whatever like that. And some people just believe it's not real even. And that's the fucking scary part, man. And, it depends where you live. St. Louis, obviously that's more of a blue Democratic county, but right here in Illinois, Collinsville, this is Republican area, and it pains me to go to a gas station and seeing people without masks in there, the employees not wearing masks. We're never going to get this thing under control unless we actually just follow by these guidelines. Even if you believe we're not, take the fucking chance. It's one of those things. It's not going to kill you to do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? You wearing a mask for 3-4 weeks and just trying to stay socially distanced as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I agree though. 100. Yeah, man. There's people that have to wear the mask all day, right? For 12 hours. That's tough. Especially
your girl and my wife. That's the thing, man. Christine's nose is just shot because the shit rubbing up against her nose the whole day,
Yeah. But what are your thoughts, I guess, on the vaccine, man?
It's one of those things, they came up with it pretty quickly, based on just previous knowledge of how long it takes vaccines to be created. It's a little scary it came up this quick. It's great to see that it had such a success rate.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing is I won't be one of the first people to take it based on my age, who I am as a person, my job, and everything like that. So I won't be really that test subject. Mm-hmm. But it's just scary taking something that's brand new, that's putting something foreign into your body. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And granted, I put these fucking smoking bowls and shit here. It's foreign going into our body. But you get the picture. You know what I mean? It's this is created in a fucking lab.
Yeah.
People are going to put in their bodies. And I saw a story where President Bush, Carter, and Obama and Clinton are all going to take the vaccine on live TV to show it's safe. That's cool. I think that's awesome. But
that shit could be fake though, man.
Exactly.
That could be like a basic flu vaccine that they're taking.
Yeah, or it could just be a fucking placebo, just fucking sugar water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Like I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. I've seen some fucking crazy shit online about the vaccines, but it's like I'm just glad I'm not one of the first people that's going to be taking it. I'll just kind of put it that way. You know what I mean? It sucks. My wife will probably be one of the first people to take it because of her work. Same thing with your girl.
Mm-hmm.
But we already know like some of the side effects. Like you're probably going to get pretty sick for 24 hours supposedly after taking it, because again, you're putting a foreign body into your body pretty much.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. Like I'll take it probably just out of the good of everybody, but still, it's crazy to think, this is what started in March, so 9 months had a vaccine created that was supposed to take over 2 years, so
a big controversy about it right now is like Bill Gates, right? Why is he so invested in this?
Bill Gates is just a good dude. Like that dude just basically cured malaria. Not malaria. What did he cure? Was it malaria?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Didn't cure it, but that dude does good, and he's willing to do good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like however bad you think about Microsoft or anything like that, but like he puts his money to good use. Like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that's probably one of the fucking most generous charities in all the United States, if not all the world. The great things that they're doing. But that's just conspiracy theorists, man. Like they're so crazy. I don't understand.
I'm laughing. I'm like, yo, that's a good soundbite right there. The truth.
There you go.
The truth about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's that the people that don't take the time to listen to Bill Gates talk, right? And if you understand it, I've watched that Netflix documentary on him. After I watched it, I was like, man, this dude, he's a pretty good dude. He seems like a good dude, right? But then you have them conspiracy theorists that'll be like, yo, but who's in control of what Netflix puts out? You know what I'm saying? It could go the way people think sometimes. It could go different ways, right? Or they'll try to make something up.
A lot of times it's typically just made up. What was it, Hillary Clinton and the Democrats were trafficking teenage children out of a pizza shop in Washington, D.C. Like, come the fuck on. Really? I don't know, man. Some of these conspiracy theories, not granted, some of this shit's probably real. Don't get me wrong. It's some of that far out shit like that. It's just hard to just even take that kind of stuff seriously.
Yeah, I feel you, man.
What's the QAnon or QAnon or whatever they're called?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on aliens?
Oh man, there's for sure something out there. The universe is too big. Maybe not in our galaxy, but the universe is way too big for there's not to be anything else out there.
Yeah.
Way too big.
Did you see that thing recently about them finding unidentified crafts from outer space, or not from planet Earth? The Pentagon saying that. Did you hear about that article?
Oh,
okay. Yeah, it came out I think maybe early this year, maybe last year. I can't really remember, but yeah, it was off to the New York Post. So I think it was a pretty official article that came out, so it was kind of a big deal. So
I'll have to check that out. That's the thing, man. Let's be honest. Look how big just the Milky Way is. Our galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So much shit beyond that, and beyond that even.
Yeah.
There's no way there's nothing else out there. No way.
I agree with that, man. I'm but why would they make that shit up though? You know what I mean?
That stuff it's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things you can't explain it. It's like religion. You have to have faith that's out there.
What are your thoughts on what's his face? Elon Musk and his SpaceX program.
That dude's dope. I'll tell you that much, man. Like, that dude's a fucking badass. Like, SpaceX, you got Tesla, hundreds of other companies probably. But like, he saw a great opportunity whenever NASA kind of got not defunded, but like a lot of their budget was taken away, and he saw a gap. Like somebody needs to do space exploration. But granted, I guarantee most of his money for SpaceX is probably coming from taking satellites for companies up there. Like, hey, yeah, we'll take your satellite for a ride, $500 million. You know what I mean? But like, the dude's smart and he knows what he's doing. Like, his car company is valued one of the most valued car company in the entire world. SpaceX is just doing amazing things, and I think it's gonna be really cool when they do get like actual just like space tourism. I'd be the first motherfucker to sign up for that shit. I think that'd be so dope just to go up there and just come right back down even. But he's using science for the greater good, and especially like with Tesla, like getting away from gasoline, going electric. We've been on these fossil fuels for as long as we can remember, even before that, pretty much since, the 1800s, the Industrial Revolution pretty much. And granted, it lasted for a long time. It was great, but we got other ways that we know don't harm the environment. Let's explore it. Let's go full throttle with it. And like, that's what he did. He pretty much bucked the entire system and did something different, and look where he's at.
Who is funding his program? Is it just himself? Like, he's like making these good products and he's selling them?
Tesla, at least, yeah. Like, but I'm sure there's probably silent investors and venture capitalists behind him that at least got him off the ground. But I imagine where the company is today, he's definitely owns over 51% at least, on SpaceX, on Tesla, and everything like that. But because there's always people, and that's the thing, money is the universal language that makes the world go around, unfortunately. So people are gonna, hey, I'll give you $500 million for 10% share, whatever it might be. Those aren't exact numbers, obviously, but that's how kind of that business world works. And he played the game right, got opportunity with Tesla, saw a break in the market when NASA kind of got a lot of their funding taken away, and pretty much just took over Cape Canaveral as a whole. He pretty much took over that city now. It's all SpaceX, but that he's a pure genius, very bright person, and it shows in what he's done and what he's going to be doing.
Yeah. Do you think like robots are like the future?
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, like on ways to automate things. If it makes the human, let's say, safer, yeah, automate things. We do that already with like car factories, things like that. Most of that stuff's automated. You still need humans to kind of run it and everything like that. But yeah, I can see moving to robots. I don't know about like we're going crazy like iRobot with like Will Smith and shit like that, but more of like an automation factor of like automating like daily tasks pretty much.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm high right now, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm just shooting at the cuff right now. I'm trying to see. It's because it's like I said, like it's interesting when there's this time gap and I haven't talked to you in so long. It's like we're catching up, and I'm just trying to like see what your mind is like. You know what I mean?
Mine hasn't changed much since we were the same back in the day, brother. Still got the same mindset, same mentality. I'm like, just a deeper understanding of it now.
Yeah, I like that. How many people's like weed experiences have died because they had a bad trip when they were young and they smoked too much the first time?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. Everybody that I knew back in the day that smoked pretty much still smokes. To an extent, they might not do it as much anymore, but they still smoke quite a bit.
Sometimes I get jealous. I'm like, man, I wish I would have started when I was younger. But at the same time, I'm like, man, maybe I would have been a totally different person today.
Very true. It's like that. It's the thing. It's like you go back and you look at your life, and if you change one thing, it could theoretically change the whole outcome of the rest of your life, you know, by changing something. And that's why I don't have any regrets, because, you know, I'm happy how things have turned out in my life. You know, I made some stupid decisions. I've made a lot of money fucking living down in Florida, working down there, and walked away from a lot of money. But you know what? Like, I'm not going to change anything, because like it led me to where I'm at today, and that's the most important thing. It's like, you have regrets, you didn't do something right.
Yeah, I like that, man. Last thing I was gonna ask you, like, so were some things that you see yourself like moving to the future, like into the future?
One thing I know with photography, you know, I'm looking really going full force into it, because just talking to other like professional photographers, you know, making $500,000, $750,000 a year just doing this on their own. Just really learning my craft, growing my craft on that. Then, you know, working with my business partners to really grow our business to where we feel it should be. And just personally, just raising my kid, man. Just making sure nothing bad happens to him, at least until now, until he's 18. After he's 18, he's on his own, so he can figure it out from there. But, you know, like I said, I live day to day, you know, and that's really my mentality now, especially, you know, take each day at a time, and, you know, just really taking care of my family, making sure Christine's happy, making sure Ryder's happy, making sure my friends are happy. You know, my friends are family too as well. And, you know, that's really my goal on a daily basis, no matter if it's 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, that's going to be the same thing. It's just really just making those around me happy and making sure they're taken care of.
I like that, man. I think that's a good way to end it, on some positive vibes.
Sure, homie.
Yeah, man. It was good catching up with you, brother.
You too, man. We same time tomorrow, right?
Is there anything you want to like promote or shout out?
Just want to go ahead and shout out The Journeys on Facebook and Instagram. It's JRNYS, The Journeys. That's the photography company. We've got the website coming soon with myself, Justin Bristol, and Ian Gilbert, are the other owners of the company. So some big things coming there. And then just giving a shout out to the Holy Cross crew from back in the fucking day. 3rd place, 8th grade state champions. Well, not state champions. 3rd place state, 10th place national. So shout out to everybody there. But no, again, man, I appreciate you having me on here. I had a fucking blast.
Shout out to Jason Jukes.
Jason Jukes, for sure. BJ.
We gotta find him, man, and have him on the podcast.
Peter Picard, all of them. I'm honestly I'm just really curious to see what they're doing. It's so weird. I don't know why. Like those two, Peter and Jason, has just been in my mind this last couple of years. Like, I wonder what they're up to these days. Everybody else they pretty much found, like Katie Gillespie and all those people. It's just those two the only ones I can't.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I get high sometimes and I do the same shit sometimes, you know? You go down those zones.
Yeah, it's like, where the fuck's this person at these days?
Yeah,
oh, shit. All right, homie. Well, I'm going to hop. But again, man, I appreciate it. And just keep up what you're doing, man. Then
right
don't be a stranger.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. This was definitely a fun conversation, man. We got to.
I had a blast.
Yeah, we got to do it again, man.
For sure. All right, brother. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Nate Dogg. Catch you soon, man.
See you, homie.
All right, peace.
This concludes our danse macabre.